When you watch RBT Australia, it might look like a bit of harmless television, being a chaotic, high-stakes mix of flashing blue and red lights, coupled with tense music, stressed-out drivers, and one-liners straight out of a sitcom. But the decade-plus-long reality show where police set up random breath tests and film the results for primetime viewing has spent years hiding behind the label of a feel-good public service announcement. The truth is far more uncomfortable, because once you actually start pulling back the slick reality TV layers, the show stops being about road safety and starts looking like a brutal cocktail of public humiliation, dubious ethical consent, and sophisticated police propaganda, all wrapped up in a shiny commercial broadcast package. So today, we need to ask the uncomfortable question: what if it's actually a symptom of a commercialized system that actively monetizes human struggle and completely warps our perception of justice? Because the reality of RBT is far more pervasive and damaging than any of us truly remember. The show's inner workings are laid bare because RBT doesn't need a formal script, with the raw, chaotic human drama writing itself every night on the side of a highway. You've got stressed out drivers, people stumbling through their sobriety tests, and passengers pleading with officers, all while a camera crew is right there, ready to capture and package every single second of that raw, unedited panic. At its core, the formula is shockingly simple. You take real people caught in real legal trouble, film their immediate worst reactions, and broadcast it for millions of Australians to judge and consume. And that is precisely where the show's fundamental moral crisis truly begins. Think about the structure of all other successful reality shows. People actually choose to be on them. They actively audition for the chance to compete on Survivor, to cook on MasterChef, or to find love on The Bachelor. They walk onto the set with the explicit goal of gaining fame, money, or attention. The subjects of RBT have done none of that. They were simply driving, and they somehow found themselves in a compulsory legal interaction with the police. The crucial difference is that a boom mic and a camera crew were suddenly there to capture it all, turning a private legal crisis into public content. The show is built on capturing people in their moments of confusion, extreme distress, and acute shame. The production feeds directly on the helplessness and shock of its subjects. And once that 5-minute segment airs, that's it. You are immortalized in one of the most publicly humiliating ways possible, with your life becoming a teachable moment and a quick punchline for a national audience. Which brings us to the real ethical crux: consent. Legally, the show requires it, and no one is aired without signing. But the context of that consent is where the doubts creep in. People are stopped on the roadside, already under stress, trying to process what's happening with the police, and then a camera appears. Most of us wouldn't love a lens pointed at our face on a regular day. Now imagine it when you're anxious, embarrassed, or unsure what comes next. In that moment, is anyone truly thinking clearly enough to make a fully informed decision about being broadcast on national TV? Now, if you were to ask the network, the producers, or the New South Wales Police, they would tell you that RBT serves a vital public function. They claim it educates viewers, deters potential drunk drivers, and clearly demonstrates the consequences of risky decisions. And while a certain level of road safety awareness is an obvious byproduct, let's be honest, the show's entire design is built for entertainment and high profit. When you watch enough episodes of RBT, you'll start to notice a very distinct pattern. Cops are a paragon of virtue. They are calm, polite, measured, endlessly patient, and totally in control, even in the face of aggressive or drunken behavior. It's like they were all trained in a high-level PR seminar right before the cameras rolled. Australia's state and federal police forces, like virtually every major department globally, has a documented history of issues ranging from racial profiling to excessive force and community mistrust. But on RBT, you won't see a single second of questionable behavior. You won't see controversial vehicle searches, unreasonable hostility, or even just an officer letting their frustrations show after a bad day. Instead, you get a meticulously curated version of police work, one where every officer is a level-headed hero and every person pulled over is someone who essentially deserved the attention. RBT serves as a highly effective PR machine for law enforcement, polishing the badge, smoothing over any systemic edges, and making the institution look infallible. RBT production crews are embedded within police operations. They are often riding along in patrol cars and are stationed right beside the officers at the random breath test sites. This means that a commercial production company is an active, integrated part of a criminal justice operation, blurring the line between law enforcement and content creation. At what point does genuine policing become a planned performance? Are officers subtly, perhaps unconsciously, changing how they behave because they know the cameras are rolling and the footage will be judged by a national audience? Are producers subtly, or perhaps overtly, nudging them towards roadside interactions that are more dramatic and more usable for ratings? Is there unspoken pressure to make sure the footage is always compelling enough to justify the expensive production cost? And what happens to the segments that don't make the cut? The segments where the driver is cleared immediately, or the interaction is simply too dull to broadcast? When law enforcement gives up its autonomy to become content, the pursuit of truth becomes secondary, public trust becomes negotiable, and the entire system tilts in favor of entertainment value. This final point is the part of the show that truly seals the deal as ethically bankrupt. Because once you're on RBT forever. The footage, once aired, will live online. Clips are constantly reposted by viewers, reaction videos are made, and comments pile up for years. This digital permanence exists even if the person was never charged with an offense, or if they were later found innocent in court. People have genuinely lost jobs, had custody battles negatively impacted, or dealt with severe long-term mental health issues directly because of their embarrassing appearance on this show. And the show's response is to simply move on to the next segment, the next distressed driver, and the next ratings hit. This is a life-altering penalty, a permanent digital criminal record, and it's issued by a commercial television program. So maybe it's finally time we stop giving RBT Australia the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's time we stop calling it a public safety campaign and start calling it what it truly is. A slick, state-sponsored reality show that thrives on shame, questionable ethics, and selective storytelling that only serves to sanitize the police and exploit people at their worst. When we, as an audience, continue to turn real people's worst, most vulnerable moments into binge-worthy commercialized content, we effectively abandon the goal of solving drunk driving, and instead, we simply feed a machine of exploitation that is far scummier than any of us truly remembered. But what do you think? Is it truly effective public safety? Or do you agree that it's just a highly effective PR campaign for the police force disguised as a deterrent? Let us know your thoughts, stories, and opinions in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.